Okay, do y'all remember this scene in season 1, episode 1 of And Just Like That? It's right before Miranda reveals to Carrie that she's never listened to her podcast.
Wow, I've got to get him. Do you see his hat on the night picture?
Who is she?
My Instagram.
Well, on January 4th, And Just Like That Costumes posted these pictures on their Instagram of that person saying they needed to hide that actor's face. The person is also wearing a necklace that spells out the name George. So they needed to hide that actor's face because that actor was none other than Isaac Cole Powell, who was supposed to portray George and be a series regular. So I think there was going to be some big reveal later on in the season that that person that Carrie photographed for her Instagram was this person that is now a character, but they just didn't want to spoil that reveal for the audience. The character description of George is that he was attending the Fashion Institute of Technology. He's unconstrained by fashion and gender norms and has a self-professed energy beyond his young years. I've read or heard about theories that he would be one of Lily's friends from school, that Lily would meet him while she attended FIT, and even that he would replace Louise as Carrie's new assistant because she had a lot going on with life and writing the book. But I think he was supposed to be connected to Stanford. We all know that unfortunately the actor that portrayed Stanford, Willie Garson, sadly passed away in September of 2021. And Michael Patrick King recently revealed that had it not been for that untimely death, Stanford would have been in all 10 episodes of the series. Stanford's storyline was going to involve him having a midlife crisis stemming from his dissatisfaction with his career or lack thereof and his unhappy marriage, and that ultimately Stanford and Anthony would divorce, but they would both still stay on the show. And throughout the whole midlife crisis, Stanford and Carrie would be kind of confiding in each other and helping each other through their trials and tribulations. So maybe Stanford and George would initially meet because we know Stanford's into fashion and George could potentially be his stylist or design some clothes for him. Or perhaps Stanford met George through Stanford's one and only client, Ashley, the TikTok star from Long Island. And they would potentially start a romantic affair, thus being part of the reason that Stanford and Anthony ultimately divorce. But alas, because Willie Garson passed away, Stanford was written out of the series, and therefore Isaac Cole Powell's character of George had to also be written out, and that's why he was initially going to be a series regular, but that in the end we only get a glimpse of secretly in season 1, episode 1 of And Just Like That. And that is what happened to Isaac Cole Powell.
You're smoking?
Stanford's in Japan?
That's Ashley, the 17-year-old Long Island TikTok star he manages. She's huge in Asia. She asked him to go on tour with her.
Well, fine, good, sayonara, but why the dramatic note? By the time you read this, I'll be in Tokyo. I mean, who is he, the lost Bronte sister?
He said he couldn't bring himself to tell you he was leaving face-to-face after Big died.
Right, and a note is so much more compassionate.
Oh, you know Stanny. He hates to disappoint people. In person, I got a letter too. He wants a divorce. I don't get it. We were so happy.
You just left?
Oh, we're not in the same place.
I told you I wasn't waiting.
What kind of person just leaves?
You, Stanford.
Steve, would you ever just leave Miranda? What?
So what did Isaac Cole Powell do instead of And Just Like That? He did American Horror Story. Not totally sure if he ended up doing American Horror Story because they offered him more money and so he said no to And Just Like That after he had already filmed that one scene, or if he said yes to American Horror Story after he had to be written out because of his connection to Stanford, who had to be written out. We may never know, but that is my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Thanks for watching.
Area 51 has existed long before you all showed up, and no one has ever escaped. You are at odds with the almighty military-industrial complex. You cannot win.
Something's happening on mine.
Holy shit. What does that mean?
It means all 4 of us are pregnant.